Everybody, it's Old School Nerd. Welcome in. I don't know if you guys know this, but I have a Patreon page. And on my Patreon page, I have a lot of content that I don't have on YouTube. For instance, free to everyone. You do not have to be a paid member of my Patreon. You can go and see the catalog, the historical list of all the up-and-coming reactions we've done, which includes all the ones who didn't win the vote that all of you voted. So if you ever want to see those, I have like over 300 videos on my Patreon right now you can go check out in the up-and-coming section. They're not on YouTube, but you can see them there for free. You do not have to be a member or anything. You don't have to pay for them. They're there. But also on my Patreon, there are sections. Have you ever seen on my live streams where you'll see like names on the very top, or at the end of my videos, the end of my reactions, you see those Patreon? There's all these different layers in Patreon to where people can support my channel in different ways. And if they want to support the channel, I appreciate them so much that I post their names on videos and in my live streams. It's just how it is. There is a particular level in my Patreon where people get to actually make me do reactions of anything they want. This is one of those times. And fortunately for me, so far, the people on that level of my Patreon love the music I love, so I rarely get anything that I'm like, eh. This is one of those times. Fred Barnes, you know Fred Barnes, right? He's pretty much in every Reactors channel, all over Twitch, all over YouTube. Great guy. Just an amazing supporter of reactions and bands, and he's just a solid guy in my community. Kardashev, reunion lyric video from Metal Blade Records. He's requesting this one. It came out 2 weeks ago. It has 14,000 views. Of course, Metal Blade Records has Kardashev. If you don't know Kardashev, not only is it a great band, but the members are content creators. And it's pretty cool to see all the stuff they create. So I'm interested in this one. All right, Fred, you want me to check this one out? All right, here we go. Are you ready? By the way, if you want to be part of this insanity, go to my Patreon. All right, are you ready? Here we go. It just started right into it. There was no preamble, just first chord. All right. I expected something that wasn't that. It was such a build-up. I thought it was going to be another huge monster wall of sound, but almost like in a ballad form. This was not that. This went from some beautiful interlude that looked like it was going to be some kind of progressive musicianship storytelling thing straight to, yeah. I should know better by now, but, you know, this segue was not what I expected. it's so end of spectrums. Speed, aggression, harsh, slow, methodical, melodic. There's not a lot of in the middle of there. I know this is how Kardashev does their stuff, and it is so powerfully written, very complex. The musicianship is always extremely high. The vocal technique used to go from a soft, comforting, melodic tone and damn near inhuman noises in the same song is why this band is so revered and so respected, because they can go to one extreme to the other. But for me, I've always loved from both, not lyrical content. I'm not talking about lyrical. I'm talking about musical. I've always loved a connected story arc in my music. From a musicianship standpoint, from a composition and arrangement standpoint, I like there to be connections that take you on a journey. They're there in this one, but they're so far apart from verse to chorus to tag to verse to chorus that it's hard to transition from one to the other if you've been listening to formulaic, industry standard music of my generation. I grew up in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, where music industry needed music to be very flowy because it had to be played on the radio. It had to be catchy. It had to have mass appeal to mass audiences. And this band, like a lot of other bands that are, I'm going to use the analogy because I do it a lot. The best way for me to describe this to people and why it makes sense to me or why it doesn't make sense to me is if you go back to the 70s and 80s, for the entire 70s, Rush was one of the best bands in the world, particularly the best three-piece in the world, from a musicianship, from a songwriting, arrangement, and composition standpoint. But none of their songs were easy to put on the radio. They weren't easy listening. They weren't acceptable to the non-nerd, to the non-musical, in-depth person. It was too complex. It wasn't easy. And for the music industry as a whole, you're trying to appeal to the most number of people. And by average, people are dumb. I'm sorry. You have really dumb people. It's like a very small amount. Then you have the masses. And the masses are pretty average in what they like. They like everything to be kind of mid. Then you have those nerd geeks, musicianship freaks that love the over-the-top stuff. So when I watch a band like Kardashev or Lorna Shore or these different bands that do not adhere to any sort of easy transition, easy to follow music, stuff that's broadly accepted. This is why bands like this are niche. They're very, very good. They're very, very amazing. And they have the hardcore fan base. But just like Rush, they're never going to be Taylor Swift. They're never going to be... And I keep using Taylor Swift because Taylor Swift is the ultimate artist that appeals to the masses. It's true. Taylor Swift appeals to literally half of the planet. Her songs are literally written, produced, and arranged to appeal to the average person, because they speak to that average person's experience. Kardashev and a lot of other progressive, experimental bands that like to push the limits are going to appeal to those people that want to be stimulated in a progressive way. They want to see how they want. These are the people that literally watch SpaceX catch rocket boosters and they fondle themselves, right? Because to them, the fact that they were able to do that intrigues their mind. Whereas the masses are like, oh, that's a cool thing. Wow, they caught that rocket. That's cool. So what are we doing tonight? Where are we going to eat? See, there's a difference. Because when I see SpaceX catch a booster with chopsticks, I'm like, holy crap, the math, the engineering, the coding, the programming, everything that went into how hard that is. Whereas the masses are like, that's a cool TikTok video. See the difference? Kardashev is for the people that want to know how, versus the people that love Taylor Swift and a lot of popular music that just think that's pretty cool. There's a difference. Music is one of those things that is, I know that we have a lot of metal genres. It's true. There's so many genres of metal because now we don't care. Metal doesn't really care what the radio or the music industry says. There's literally as many types of metal as there are types of sushi. If it's raw and you can cut it up and serve it, you can call it sushi, you can call it metal. And that's the beautiful thing about it. There's a lot of bands out there that I don't care for because their type of music is very not my personal taste. Does that mean that I don't appreciate it? Hell no, I'm impressed by it. Unfortunately, I will tell you, Kardashev is not on my normal playlist. And it's not because I don't like what they do. It's not my style. Like I said, I'm more of a flow storytelling person. I love musicianship. I love dynamics. I love creativity. This has all of it. But for me, they're so far apart in the extremes, it's hard for me to appreciate it as much as some of you. And the thing about it is the people that love this band, I need more people to love this band. This band is so freaking good. Are they my playlist? No. I love a little harsh vocal, but the harsh vocal can't dominate the entire song for me. I do love some melodics. That's a personal preference. It's because I grew up in an age of storytelling and I love folk music. The aggressiveness is, for me, aggressive, passionate, progressive, aggressive, harsh vocals and music is used as an accent and a tool to tell a conflict, a climax, or a final dark ending to a tale. It can't be the whole story. It's also probably one of the reasons why I don't like horror movies. I just don't like horror movies. So what I'm saying is everything I've just said, if you don't agree with it, it's because you're not wrong. And neither am I. We just have different tastes. But as people, as a band, spot on. Now, here's the thing. Kardashev, Unleash the Archers. To me, I find both of those bands to be amazing, but they tell their musical metal stories in two totally different ways. But the people that respect Kardashev respect Unleash the Archers and back and forth. And I have friends of mine that love both of those bands. But do you see what I'm saying? Both of those bands have the ability to tell amazing, complex musical stories. And they do it in two totally different languages. It's like love languages, but I call them metal languages. Yeah. I really like this. God, I love being wrong. I love being wrong so much. The whole first half of this song was so harsh and so soft in two totally separate areas, and there was such a large gap between them that I wasn't connecting with this song. And then they get to this part right about midway where they find that middle ground of passionate vocals that were melodic with still such power. This is some of my favorite things about music. The first half of this song was not connecting with me. Right here, it's that middle ground where they meet in the middle and they work it out. From the harsh, aggressive, just savagery to that melodically soft, almost too touchy-feely. They come together and it makes something beautiful. This is really, really good. Thanks, Fred. Fading out. Wow. I'm not going to read all of this, but this is one of those times where they, may we all plant trees so that the children of our children can sit in their shade. I need you guys to read this. You know what? Go watch the original and take the time to read this, because I'm going to go back and read this. Osea. Oh. So the song is 5 minutes, and there's a 1 minute and 20-second area to listen, to read through this, which is absolutely gorgeous. All right, Kardashev reunion lyric video. This one was a ride because as I sat through this reaction, we talked about it. I can't relate to the extreme one to the other. I like to have a congruent connection between all the different parts in a dynamic storytelling way. That's my favorite kind of music. And it doesn't matter if it's folk music. It doesn't matter if it's metal. It doesn't matter if it could be any genre. If you know how to tell the story, I'm in. But the story has to be told both, for me, musically first. The music itself, not the lyrics. The music itself, when I'm making this reaction, I couldn't even tell you half the lyrics. I was listening because I want the music to tell me a story. And this did. The disconnect at the beginning, I think, was now on purpose. I didn't like it at first. But now that I see where they bring it together in a reunion, it makes total sense now. And I think it's amazing. So there you go. Yeah, I made a 20-minute reaction to a 5-minute song. And that usually happens when it's really something special. And I know that they're coming out with a new album. And if this is some of what we expect, it could be one of those albums where you sit down, like a Rush album, early Rush, where you sit down and you experience the story. Not listen to it and change the channel. You sit down and you enjoy the whole story. My name is Old School Nerd. Hey, thanks, Fred. This one, pretty impressive. Thanks for watching, everybody. And if you enjoyed this video, give us a like. It really helps the channel grow. Also, if you want to subscribe, right over there. A big thank you to all my Patreons out there for everything you do. And if you want more content like this, check them out above. Remember, love one another, take care of each other. We're all stuck on this mud ball together. We'll see you later.